commemoration of the 150 years of the Civil War that occurred 150 years ago, beginning in 2011 of this year. And of course, Dr. Lovett, I think the last time we promised that we'd give you an opportunity to talk about the war itself. As I think you've indicated earlier, that many of our young people are not familiar with some of the great events that occurred in that war between 1861 and 1865. And so perhaps during this next 8 minutes, you could sort of highlight some of those events and tell why the war itself was significant.
Well, the war really begins with the election of Abraham Lincoln in November of 1860. And December of 1860, when the Electoral College confirmed that Lincoln was the winner, South Carolina called for slave states to leave the Union. And South Carolina, Mississippi, and about 4 of the states had left the Union by February 1861. And they met at Montgomery, Alabama, and formed a separate country, the Confederate States of America, and elected Jefferson Davis president in last of February 1861. Tennessee joined that rebellion in May of 1861 and joined the Confederacy in June of 1861. And mostly after South Carolina attacked the federal fort, Fort Sumter, in April of 1861. And Lincoln called for volunteers on the 15th of April to put down the rebellion and keep the Union together. As the war went on, of course, the major issue that had been an issue since the Constitutional Convention of 1787, slavery, of course, came to the forefront. And by 1862, Lincoln and Congress were convinced that they had to deal with that issue to save the Union. So in 1862, they declared slavery abolished in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. They had the power to do that. And then, secondly, they abolished slavery in any American territory, so no new states could come into the Union. And most of the territory of the United States was unsettled and were not organized into states. So they put a stop to that. And finally, in summer of 1862, Lincoln decided and announced in September 22nd, 1862, that he was going to announce that all the slaves were free in any rebellious territory next January 1st, 1863.
Okay.
And on January 1st, 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation indeed was signed by President Lincoln at approximately 1:30 in the afternoon in the White House. That, of course, made the Confederates fight a little harder. But remember, there were 15 slave states, and and 4 of those slave states did not join the rebellion, did not join the Confederacy. And so it was a contentious issue. Lincoln exempted those states
From the Emancipation
Proclamation, and he also exempted Tennessee and parts of Louisiana because they had been captured by the Union Army, and so all those territories that were under Union control, they were exempted. The only way we dealt with the rest of